So, we're here, finally, the last segment. I'm going to go over with you all how to overcome life's adversities. So,
حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر.
So we've gone over examples of how people are really being challenged, and we've gone over the Prophet Ayub alayhi salam. Now we're going to cover some real important tips on how to overcome life's adversities. Tip number one, this is so crucial. Remember that the more you're tested, the more Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you. The more your Rabb loves you. And the reason being is basically He's inviting you to become closer to Islam. And the more you're challenged, the more you are qualified in the Jannah. The more your higher rank you'll have. Remember, the people with higher ranks in Jannah, Rasulullah, peace be upon him, was the highest rank in Jannah of all human beings. And yet in his 23 years as a prophet, he was tested more than anybody else. So remember, when life gets you down, that your test is an indicator of how much in the Akhirah. Also, when life is testing you, prove that you are the best of who you are. Prove the best character that you are. Be the best Muslim that you can be in those times which are hardest. When life really gets you down, be the best character that you can be. Imagine that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there watching you, watching every move, scrutinizing it. Remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there watching you, watching every move you make, right? Well, He's doing that anyway. But at those times when you are feeling really down, remember that you need to prove that you are the best example of who you can be. And while we're talking about example, let's be honest. All of you Muslims, let's all strive to be the best example of Islam in this community. A lot of us in the West are around non-Muslims, right? So I challenge you all, personal challenge from me to you, is to be the best example of humanity. Not just as Muslims. No, I'm talking about being the best example as a human being. What I mean by that is human beings, a lot of us lie, and a lot of us, do little things, break the rules here and there. We think it's okay. We have what's called white lies, and I'll go into that in another video. But these things have become so commonplace that people no longer know who is a trustworthy person. And when I want them, when they think of a trustworthy person, to think of you, to think of the Muslim, to think, oh, the mu'min in our community is the trustworthy one. Because not only will it reflect on you, but hopefully, inshallah, they will bring them closer to Allah. Maybe one day, just maybe, your example will bring them to Islam. Practice patience is so important. And here's a way to learn how to be patient. Because the Western world, running here and there, we're running after everything. We're running after life. So much so that we've forgotten how to be patient. So here's an example. Next time you go out and you buy a new phone, or you buy some new gadget, something you really want, right? I want you to get that gadget, right? Test it that works and everything, obviously, and then put it away. You heard me. Put it away. Lock it in a cupboard for like a week, 2 weeks, a month. Lock it away. So that way you can't get to it. You know it's there, you really want it, it's in the house, but it will teach you patience. At these hardest times as well, brothers and sisters of Islam, the shaitan will test you. He will come and coil around you, spiritually speaking. I don't know if he can coil, but he or she will coil around you and it whispers into your ears, it's easier if you just don't be good. If you're a naughty boy, that's what they'll whisper. It's things like that. It's like, oh, ignore the rules, just break the rules. What are rules for? The shaitan, they see a challenge and they go, ooh, let me bring him down to my level. Remember, they're like the lowest level. These things, these creatures, these jinn that are in our blood, they want to bring you down to their level. So remember that next time you have evil temptations when life is getting you down, next time you're tempted to do sin, remember my words, and remember not to succumb to the shaitan's plot. My last example is sometimes bad things happen for a good reason. You see, one time there was a Hindu, and he wanted to be a doctor, and he didn't get the scholarship to go into his relevant course. So he ended up going to take a different course, and in the course he was around Muslims. Now basically what ended up happening, because he was around Muslims, he ended up learning about Islam, and eventually he ended up basically converting to Islam within about a few months of that time. And to this day, that Muslim brother, he's always said, not getting into med school is the best thing possible. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows better than you. You know, your maker knows all the strings that you can't see. You know, there's a lot of strings in the universe, there's a lot of things, you know, that have to happen. You know, we all take this universe for granted, but there's a lot of stuff that has to go on in the background that we don't even know about. But in order for us to be in the right place, sometimes we have to get what we don't want. Or sometimes something bad has to happen in order for something good to happen further down the line. So please, practice patience and understand that not always is it always going to happen the way you want. This isn't like you're not the, you know, owner of everything. That's our Rabb, that's our maker, that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He owns the universe, it's all His. You know? It's all our makers. So we are just here to do the test. So when that happens, that you don't get what you want, it's like, that should have been mine. Remember that none of it was yours. It was just in your proxy for a limited time being. If you had a car, that was never your car. It was your maker's car. The car was just in your proximity for a time being. You could use it. Your abdul allowed you to use that posh car or that nice thing. You know, it was never yours to begin with. It was always your maker's. And it's just returning back to your maker. And if it's returning to your maker, how could you ever be sad? Again, I'm calling all of you Muslims out there, be the example in the community. When life gets you down, be the example, be the best character you can be the best Muslim you can be. As always, I'm calling you all to goodness. You know, this dunya is temporary. We might die tomorrow. We might die next week. We don't know when our end will come. And at some point, very soon, we'll be standing in front of our Maker. We'll be standing in front of our Rabbul Alameen, and He'll be asking us to account for what we did in the dunya. So please, I'm begging all of you, watch my videos, hit subscribe or hit like, you know, and please embrace Islam. Watch more Islamic lectures. Really embrace Islam, not into just your body but your soul. Embrace it really into the core of your being. Please, all of you, join me in goodness. Come, I'm calling you to goodness. Come to goodness.